Cups communities across the nation aim to present an inclusive and front door for their local entrepreneurial ecosystems. Again, we are safe and supportive, inclusive and diverse. Everyone has a voice. No one person dominates. And we ask that everybody please be respectful and considerate. We are also recording this on Facebook Live and on Zoom and YouTube. The structure is basically you log into the 1 Million Cups app on Facebook, you attend each week, you provide feedback, you engage online, get our news, and you'll be receiving email notifications of each and upcoming presenter. Our organizing team is led by Donnell Johns, Jen Dalton, and then we have Tony Barnett, myself, Mayosha Armendez, John Yu, Melinda Siegel, John Rutenberg, Ronetta Jones, Justin Wilson, and Russ McIntosh. Each week we have a sponsor, and if John is available, actually it's Sylvia who's available from Office Evolution. So Sylvia, if you'd like to take a moment.
Hello everyone, my name is Sylvia and I'm with Office Evolution. So at Office Evolution, we provide affordable office space, private offices, conference rooms, and co-working. And so now around the season, we just offer the gift of co-working. I don't know if you can see it. This is a punch card. So for $100, you can come in 10 times and use our shared workspace. So if you need a gift, I highly recommend this. And yeah, just reach out to me. I will leave my information in the chat. So again, my name is Sylvia Ferguson and I'm with Office Evolution Kaisens Corner. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia. And our coffee sponsor for the month is the illustrious Jen Dalton, who celebrated the release of her second book yesterday. So Jen, take it away.
Yes, I am a glutton for punishment, not just one book, but 2 books. Welcome, everybody. We're thrilled to have you here at 1 Million Cups. This is a group focused on helping our business community grow. And a lot of times in our conversations, we share feedback on ideas on what businesses might want to think about doing. We ask hard questions, and those are ultimately difficult conversations sometimes. So if you're interested in learning more about how to navigate difficult conversations, I would love for you to check out my ebook and print book on Amazon. I'm going to drop a link in Facebook and I'll drop a link here in chat. The ebook is on sale this week. It just launched yesterday. It's 99 cents, so grab a copy. If you want a signed copy, let me know. I'm happy to make that happen for you. Again, thank you everybody for joining. This is a fabulous group. If you know of any business owners who are interested in getting feedback, maybe they're trying to think about what to focus on for 2021, this is a great group. They can apply, present, and get lots of free feedback. So our group is here for you. Join us every Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. And thanks for having me as a coffee sponsor. Maybe we can do a drawing later and I will ship someone coffee since we are virtual. So thanks again.
All right. Thank you, Jen. All right. For our instructions today, please keep your microphone on mute throughout the course of the meeting. Once we go into the question and answer phase, to ask a question and participate in the discussions, use the hand wave icon in the chat section to announce that your intent to have a question. Or you can type in a question to the moderator, who will be Melinda. You can message her privately or send it to the group and say you have a question. If the moderator says your name, please unmute your microphone, give your name and who the company you're with, and then ask your question and comment. And put your microphone back on mute when you're finished speaking. We ask that you please be brief with your questions to give everybody a chance to get at least one question in. And then if you wish to elaborate, you can certainly ask additional questions or request the moderator for another question. So today, 1 Million Cups Fairfax presents Wellie. Take it away.
Thank you, guys. Good morning. Thank you for having me here today. I really appreciate it. Before I get started, I really wanted to define wellness because I think there's a lot of, from my angle, a lot of misinformation on wellness, but easily said, wellness is an active process of becoming aware and making choices toward a healthy and fulfilling life. This would include mental, physical, spiritual, and social. So as we go through the slides, you'll realize that a lot of the companies out there do not encompass all these categories, and they have left them out. And Wellie is positioned to include a lot of this stuff, and that's the beauty in it. When we go to next slide, please. When we go to the wellness consumers, we're looking at some of the problems they're facing. So Wellie as an app is a two-sided platform. And what we're trying to do is to bring the wellness consumers and the wellness professionals together. We've seen a disjointed relationship in very many aspects. And if we looked at it from the wellness consumers side, we're seeing that it's really hard for them to find professionals or know who these professionals are, or know what these professionals can do for them. And that's the major challenge in the market. When it comes to wellness professionals, like all professionals, professionals are really good at what they do, and they have a hard time marketing to potential customers, and they have a hard time growing their businesses. And what Wellie can do for them is close that gap for them. We can try to bring customers right in front of them. If we go to the next slide, we can see the solution. And with the solution, we're looking at basically joining these two guys. If you looked at the consumer again, if you wanted to find a professional, this goes for even a dentist, that goes for a chiropractor, goes for any professional in the health and wellness field. You're going to have to go through Google. You're going to have to go through directories. You're not going to know whether they're qualified. You're going to go through reviews. What Wellie proposes to do for us is basically vet these professionals, make sure certifications are good, make sure they're good at what they do. And not because someone is well known or not well known means they're not good at what they do. Someone that's good at what they do, they have studied their profession really well, but they're just not good at the other aspects of it, not necessarily. If we go to the next slide, the field that we're in, we're looking at the traction that's possible. And looking at the global wellness industry as a whole, we're looking at almost a $4.2 trillion market. And as we look at 2018 statistics, because that's as much as I could find right now, we're looking at up to 4.5 trillion. And there's a definite growth trend, as you can see. We're looking at 6.4% annually. So by 2023, there's an estimate of about $7.something trillion out there. As we go to the next slide, we're looking at a 1.2 trillion market alone with mind, body, fitness, and nutrition. When we look at the serviceable available market, we're looking at $70 billion. And that just includes the wellness consumers and the wellness professionals as we know them now. And it doesn't include all the categories that we're going to go into as we go down the slides. Next slide, please. When we look at Wellie, we're revolutionizing the holistic wellness market. It's got many unique features. Some of them include instant and easy access, live professionals, at your fingertips, customized, certified, and vetted professionals. It's a great marketing tool for professionals. The way we set it up is it's a unique way for professionals to get on the platform and come face to face with potential clients, potential customers. And there's no other platform like that. Most other platforms, the consumer will have to go through a directory. They don't know who they're going to interact with. Wellie just takes that away from them. They just get on the app, they select a category, they come face to face to someone, and they're able to chat with that person and decide whether they want to move forward with them, whether this aspect of what they're trying to achieve is good for them or not. Next slide, please. So what we tried to do is we tried to categorize where we can see annual revenue from the competitors. And when we look at the holistic side, which is on the right side, you're looking at pretty much other companies like Peloton, MindBody, Thumbtack, and DAO And basically, these guys, they're not even in the holistic space per se. They only look at a few categories, and that's generally just exercise, probably nutrition, a little bit of mental. But Wellie stands alone on that side. When you look at the other side in conventional medicine, you're looking at mental, you're looking at directories. And again, they don't offer the same thing that Wellie does, except maybe Talkspace and Teledoc and the mental capacities. They're pretty much the same thing, one-on-one, live. Wellie is introducing the holistic side of well-being in that realm. Go to the next slide. I'd like to introduce you to the team. We have Paul, my partner. He's co-founder. He's got at least 12 years of experience in the wellness profession. Myself, I've got 25 years of experience in the dental health. Been associated with wellness as a consumer mostly. I'd like to give you that quick story. Basically, I met my partner, Paul, about 18 months ago. I went through a annual medical physical and did some blood work. The doctor called me up about 2-3 days later and told me that my results came through and I had high cholesterol. So he immediately wanted to put me on to some medications, statins. So I'm really anti-medications if I could help it. And I was looking fervently for different avenues, different ways to do things, different ways to treat it. Now, not once did he ask me, which I didn't take into consideration, you're supposed to fast before you do these blood tests. And I didn't fast, I ate. I probably had a steak and cheese sub or something like that the night before. So obviously my cholesterol levels were like so high, but he never went through that with me. In any case, I took it to heart and I decided to look for some solutions. I met Paul randomly and immediately I changed my coach, my trainer. Immediately I changed the way I was eating. I mean, these are hard things to do, but they're not necessarily hard in the sense that when you believe in it and you believe that you can do better, you'll probably start doing it. And as you do it, you realize the changes that you can create, the changes within yourself, the mental capacities, the focus, the energy, the strength that you can gain, all of these, and they all help you in all different ways in your life when it gets to social, physical, everything like that. Your whole approach to life changes as well. And, this is what I think the world needs. We need to look at life differently. We need to look at life more positively with everything else going on around us. We need to definitely take what's going on in and approach it from a different manner. And I do believe Wellie can help us with that. When we look at the go-to-market solutions, we've got the MVP, which we started up in September. We had about 50 professionals on board, and we were looking at about 100 consumers. We want to go into the beta. The beta has been a little bit delayed because of the dev team with the app. I notice 1Million Cups is having a similar problem, probably. But in any case, what's going on? We want to introduce a scheduling component and a payment process as well. And that should be all ready by end of January. As we continue on, we want to continue scaling and increasing the amount of consumers that we can onboard, as well as the amount of professionals that we have. Next slide. For Wellie, we have some big goals. There's so much more potential within the app, and we want to really strongly gravitate towards developing the app in a way that the platform is all inclusive. We want to integrate marketing tools, sales tools, and gamification features, which will definitely increase its use and obviously the user retention. We want people to get onto Wellie, enjoy it, be satisfied with the services, and want a reason to come back and keep on using it. As you look at our revenue model is evolving. And as we grow, we're including many different streams that are potential streams that can help Wellie grow into a really big thing. Next slide. Some of the visions, some of our early visions, and not really the bigger visions, but we're getting there. Wellie will be the go-to brand for all your wellness needs. And we want to use it as a tool to increase the wellness awareness for the consumers. We want to position it as a hub to collect data from wearables, exercise, food tracking, and use that step to get into the health field as well, which is not an impossible task, but as we look at it closely, it is possible. We want to be well known and attract as many wellness professionals as possible and get them using the app for their business and client bases. Next slide. This slide kind of shows you our timelines, where we started. And basically, we started in February 2020 with the MVP development. We're down to November, which we are hoping to do the beta launch. But at this point, we're going to delay that a little bit. We want to get into Series A in terms of funding by the third quarter. And we should have the app fully functional in its capacity to show some traction for that. Next slide, please. So again, this is our information. Be sure to join us on Instagram and Facebook. I've left some links on the chat there at the top. Send us messages if you like, and then you can also find me on LinkedIn as Riaz Ben Ali. And that's it, guys. So,
Yes, thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Actually, very cool getting some of the information about the app and your rapid timeline and your development. That's very impressive. At this time, we'd like to go ahead and have everybody review your challenge question, which is how can you network at a higher productivity and project with more consumers, businesses, and only get funding from investors. At this point, I'm going to hand the moderation reins over to Melinda, and she's going to go ahead and begin the question and answer session.
Great. Outstanding presentation.
thank you.
I've got a couple of questions. The challenge question, you're looking for networking ways to do things. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. So one of the challenges we have is to get consumers and to get a volume of consumers. So we were approaching it from a business to business aspect. So we figured that if we went to businesses and offered it as a partnership to these business owners to offer them a wellness solution on an app for their employees, it would help them, give them benefits so that they would, hopefully employees would enjoy working there much better. Everyone loves more benefits. So we don't really want to call it a benefit, but we want to give them access to the app. We want to increase the amount of usage, and we figured that would be a big, easier way to go. We wanted to get as many users as possible for testing, as well as into beta, and evolve from there.
Do you work with insurance companies so that when somebody finds a doctor that they can see that they're affiliated with Aetna, whoever it is, if they're on a plan where they have to stay with their insurance companies?
So basically, we're not in the medical space. We're more in the holistic space, the wellness space. So insurance companies do not always cover the care that's offered. What we are looking at is FHSA solutions, which companies can produce that can help pay for these services. So that will be incorporated and introduced to the companies later on as we get growing. Yeah.
Terrific. Nobody's raising their hands yet. You must have answered everybody's questions.
Melinda, I have a quick
Jen.
question.
Oh, great, Jen, thanks.
So I downloaded the app and I started to use it, and it goes like, I think it goes straight to a person to start to talk with, and I was like, oh, crikey, close the app. So can you talk a little bit about what do you want the experience to be, and how do people, can they use, like, end of year right now, people are trying to use their health dollars and spending and stuff. So are there some things that you're tweaking that really will help it be differentiated from what's out there right now?
Definitely. So what we're looking at is, well, to address your situation as you went on the app, it's not unique, and I've gotten feedback from that from a lot of people, both Paul and myself. And basically, we have been speaking to developers and app developers basically to figure out what the solution to that is, because immediately as people jump on it, they get a little like, whoa, and they back off. And whether or not they go back on, that's another situation, and that's what we're looking at. So we're figuring out whether we can add a separation screen and something to just sort of calm that initial jolt, so to speak. Definitely, as we grow, we want the experience to be something where someone can just jump onto Wellie. And when I say jump onto Wellie, you can find specific categories that you're not even aware of, and find solutions to problems that you don't even know that you have. Just hitting on one of those screens, and a professional pops up in front of you, and a conversation can be started. And me speaking to many of the professionals we have on board right now, it's just amazing how they answer questions and how they have different angles at anything that you ask them. So it's not like a cookie cutter kind of process, in a sense that these conversations are really customized, and they go hand in hand with what you're trying to figure out. And even if you don't know what you're trying to figure out, they'll lead you into figuring it out. And they're all coming from angles of the holistic approach. So you don't need medications, you don't need, obviously we're going to know the scope and the extent to which we can help, and we're not going to overstep those boundaries. All the professionals that we have on board, they're certified in that respect, and they know if you do need a physician, if you do need actual mental counseling, you should go to those channels and not use Wellie for that. But
So just one thought, and I apologize for jumping in, but one thought would be, if I'm a consumer logging in, make it easy for me to invite my own practitioners that I already work with, because I have an acupuncturist, and your app is a great way for them real time to connect with customers. So make it easy for the acupuncturist to go, hey, customers, sign up on Wellie, and and choose me, and I'll automatically be available, because it's a real time tool for people who want access right away to their patients if their patients have something. So I think there could definitely be two distinct markets. One, you already have people, you just want to make it easier for them to get in touch with their clients, or vice versa. Or I don't have a network, I need to find one. Here you go. But if I am already inviting my acupuncturist and they have 100 clients, that feels like, or 500, that feels like they're pretty vetted. They're not brand new. So it might be part of the vetting formula. So just a thought.
Oh, that was great.
I'll stop
Great.
there, but
No, that's great thought, and definitely, we are considering that. Remember, we're in early stages of the development, and that slide that we presented to increase in the development, you definitely look into that for it. Yeah, thank you.
I love Jen's idea of what she just described, and maybe you can have an ambassador program for people that help you build the professional side as well as the consumer side, and you come up with some kinds of awards that you can give them that make sense, that fits into the holistic healthcare market.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you thought about associations and also organizations like SHRM, which is HR folks, ASAE, where you could get all the associations that belong to ASAE, and there are a whole bunch of trade associations too, and different groups that you could probably get to and get to speak in front of and talk about the holistic healthcare and the preventativeness and all the other pieces to that.
Actually, no. That's some really good solutions. I like that. Maybe you can help me out with that a little bit more.
Okay.
I'd love
and
that.
Also chambers are a great way to reach the communities, and you could pilot it in the Metro DC area with the DC chamber and some of the chambers in Virginia and also Maryland.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Yeah.
No, but we need to tell everybody, you need to raise your hand if you've got a question, and that's what I've been looking for. So I guess that's.
We have two. We have John Rutenberg and Rosemary. Rosemary was first.
Great, Rosemary, then John. Thank you.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Great presentation, Ben. Love the idea.
Thank you.
I want to kind of build to the next step on what Jen said. When she mentioned acupuncturist, of course, I thought of other practitioners in the holistic space. And the one that really jumped out at me is chiropractors. They already have extensive mailing lists. They have an association. And I think if you want to find that bullseye in the target, that is a great place to look, because most healthcare plans don't cover chiropractic 100%. And therefore, to your earlier point about going after, the spending account type approach, that's a really fertile environment for you to really see that with. And chiropractic is about holistic. So that's a set of practitioners that I think would embrace your message from the get-go and help you to build out that. Trust me, I know from my startup the amount of numbers you need to get people interested in talking to you.
I mean, I love the idea of getting into that. We started off simple with unlicensed practitioners, make it easy. And we want to grow into that field, as I said before, into the licensed practitioners. It's going to take some growth pains. The chiropractic field definitely is a big field if we could get into that. But we'd have to make definite tweaks in the app to accommodate it. And we'd have to go through a lot of policy, licensing and everything else to get them boarded. That's something we would look into later on, I'm sure. That's our goal. If you can give me some sort of ideas on how to overcome that step, I would love it. That would definitely help.
I will think about that, Ben, and send you some info. How's that?
Yeah, cool. Appreciate that.
Good luck.
Thank you.
John, I believe you're next.
Yes. Hey, first, thank you so much for being willing to stand up in front of this group and take our rotten tomatoes that we throw at you. It's awesome. Really appreciate it. So I love the comments everyone made. I really believe your task is to find practitioners, not consumers. Because if you build it, they will come. Describe how you use the term you match consumers with providers. So how is that done? Is that done by a computer? Is that done individually based on what people ask for? How is that working?
So with the app as it stands right now, we've got 3 categories. We've got exercise, nutrition, and yoga. And basically anyone that jumps on the, so we've got professionals all lined up behind each of those categories, ready to go. What we're looking at is when a consumer comes on board, they're going to be looking at those categories and figuring out what it is they need. And they tap on one of those categories and they're immediately connected to someone in that field. When we get further into the development, we're hoping that we can introduce menus or quick surveys as to what that person is looking for or what they think they need. And the algorithms behind that will help us match them with the professional type and the professional also that could fit what they're looking for in terms of personalities and everything else like that. And this is why I say the app has some ways to go to develop it into something that's really major and forceful in the way we vision it, to really create that experience that the consumers will absolutely love. And it will also at the other end be a tool for practitioners, professionals, where they see it as an inexpendable tool for them to get in the market and get these consumers on board.
So I get the practitioner side 100%, and I'm wrestling with what's the magnet that's going to attract the consumer side. And it is what you just described, which is the next level you're moving towards, which is, gosh, now I'm putting in some of my, not necessarily personal information, but preferences, what I'm looking for, whether it's exercise or yoga or chiropractic. And if you can create an automated solution to match me with the best practitioner for what my preferences are, that becomes very appealing. By the way, I'm in the business of matching, and I have matching software, so we can talk about that separately. My second part of my question, though, is you use the word vetting.
Mhm.
And now I'm going to a question relating to raising capital, which of course, once you have paying customers, it's a lot easier to raise capital, particularly Series A. And I wonder whether friends and family, and maybe you've done that already, is the first round of financing. But vetting is a very strong word. And my first question is, what is the protocol for vetting? And my second part, because I'm risk averse, is what is your liability when that practitioner fails?
Okay. So let's go to vetting. Vetting would be basically understanding the certifications needed for the professionals in their fields that they're in, and also looking at backgrounds and reviews as they come in. So we're obviously going to try to figure out who are the best ones to allow onto the platform. The background checks are going to be helpful for that, and everyone has to have a background check from a legal standpoint when it comes to getting on board with Wellie. When it comes to the fundraising, basically you said trying to get traction, trying to get people on board. We're having a hard time getting the consumers to actually get in there and start using, because of the app as it is right now. And this is why we're trying to go to the businesses to get more of those consumers with one blast, as opposed to going person to person to person to person. We figured if we can do a survey with a company, and out of 100 employees, say 45 of them say, I like this, I want to try it. And we get them to try it and get them to start using it. We encourage them to use it. We're incorporating different aspects in the app in terms of push notifications, marketing with emails and other aspects that we need to fine tune. But we're communicating with these users in a way that, hey, get on board, use Wellie. We're offering it free for now as a test period, so it becomes even more inviting and easier to use, less challenges, less obstacles. And by creating that engagement, I think those numbers will help us get in front of more investors who will be more interested in seeing us grow and incorporating some of the technological developments that we're looking for to create the monster that we want to create.
Eddie's got a question next.
Who
Are you
does?
ready, Eddie?
Hey, can you see me? Hi, good morning. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. Listen, I'm sorry. I was at my doctor this morning, and so I'm here on my phone, and I'm somehow I thought I knew how to do this better, but apparently I don't. So a comment and a question. Doctors, wellness seems to be very, very important right now.
Mm-hmm.
And however, all of the various doctors have an app, quote unquote. And so the doctor wants to interact with us through their app.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder whether whether it might not be a good angle of attack to go at the doctors, whether there is an integration, whether there is content, whether there is a support or service that you can provide that can also be integrated within the various applications that the various doctors' practices are using. In other words, coming into the doctor's service as an added value to their customers. Do you follow where I'm going?
I do. I think I do. So basically, let's look at this from the standpoint of being a startup and having a focus. And the focus is basically we're on the wellness field and we want to attack it from that aspect. look at the fact that the medical side of it now has become really big, really huge, and it's very competitive. And when you look at medicine and wellness, the two are supposed to be together, but they're disjointed in the sense that most medical practitioners do not see wellness as an adjunct, as big as it should be. And they try to practice medicine on a scale in which they have been trained. And I say that easily because my sister's a physician and I don't ever ask her for any advice because first thing she's going to do is have me pop a pill. So that being said, it doesn't mean that we've given up faith with them. And as a startup, we do want to have an endpoint, and that endpoint would be to be able to integrate with one of these big companies, so that they can use Wellie as an adjunct service like they do with the medical profession. I'm not sure if that answered the question.
It does, but let me give you let me respond to what you've said, right?
Get
There
quick,
are
because
some
other people want to.
I know, and forgive me, I'll be very quick. There are some doctors or some physicians who have now focused very heavily on wellness, making wellness a huge part of the practice, because if you're focusing on wellness, you're reducing costs, so companies will pay to reduce cost. And so there might be lots of physicians who you could go after for that angle. Thank you very much for your time.
And that's a good suggestion. I mean, it's an angle that we could approach. Thank you.
So very quickly, we need questions and answers to be a little bit shorter so we can get more people in. I want to throw in one question. What is your, how are you making money with this app? And it's kind of twofold, because I actually wanted to talk to you about advertisers and sponsors for the app.
Yeah. So how are we making money? We're not making any money right now. And our goal with the beta launch is we've incorporated a scheduling and then a payment system so that a revenue can be generated. So as consumers get on board and they schedule with a professional, they pay for that service, and we get a percentage of that payment. And that's how we would drive the revenue at the very beginning. As things grow, we have other thought out processes or revenue streams that we can tap into that we'd like to get into. When it comes to advertising within the app, I'm assuming that's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are things that we have looked at, and again, it depends on developing the app to accommodate that. And one of the things that we've decided that we could possibly do is have a tiered subscription system where the app could be free with advertising. The app, you pay a little bit of a subscription fee, another tier where you have less advertising, and then another tier where you have no advertising. And that would be another generation of revenue in the future.
Right.
So those are just preliminary thoughts and things that we're investigating, looking at.
The next two people are Paul and then Mary.
Hello. Hello, Ben. So let me take this off. One question I have for you is, it sounds like you're going after wellness professionals. You mentioned yoga instructors. What comes to mind also are massage therapists. And a lot of those massage therapists, from my experience, I've funded a few. There are a lot of 1099 contractors. They're constantly moving throughout the industry, working for one group, going to another. And a lot of them are going to become chiropractors. So that may be an in to that segment as well. I know there are a lot of chains right now in the marketplace that are struggling. They're closing a lot of stores, they're consolidating, and a lot of them are trying to move much more to digital to reduce labor costs. They have secretaries doing a lot of this. So if you can build in a schedule appointment, whether it's in person or virtual, I can see there being a lot of benefits. So just a lot of these massage therapists, a lot of them are franchises that are owned by different groups, and they have the owners have a couple different ones.
So I've got a quick question. I mean, I love what you're saying, but how do I find them? How do I find these people?
Specifically, some of the larger chains, certainly reaching out to corporate, that would be the pitch I would go for. But a lot of them, corporate then franchises out. So if you build a model for them to retain customers, again, when I go to get a massage, I may go to Massage Envy, or I go to Escape Massage, or there's so many different ones. If you can sell it as this will build client retention, that's what a lot of these markets are looking for. They're in the app, they've got their particular massage therapist. It builds brand loyalty, which a lot of them are struggling with. There are local ones also who you can reach out to, and they actually have different conventions. If you want to connect afterwards, I'm happy to introduce you to some that I personally work with, and there are conferences that they go to, and there's actually a lot of them.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mary.
Thank you, Paul.
I really didn't want to start my video this morning, but here I am. So I am someone, so I think I'm your target market. I'm someone who, but I'm already bought into the wellness. I'm already trying to straddle that medical versus not taking the cholesterol pill. So I'm totally aware of it. I just wanted to share my pain point, and I don't know if it's possible with the size and what you're trying to build, but my pain point is trust, right? So I did quickly anecdote. I had something happen where I ended up in the hospital, and I had to have a whole bunch of things done. And I had a friend who's a brilliant doctor, and she followed me along, and she basically was like a consultant. And I think that's an industry that's going to grow. But I feel like, and I just think it might be too expensive, or I don't know how it would happen, but if I could get my question answered, even from a fairly high level, that says, oh, you have this, 6 things to think about, 6 ways to do it through the wellness versus the medical, here are the big differences. That's a lot of information, obviously, but I want to trust someone to tell me, and I don't want to end up with a provider. I want to know that if I go to you, the provider is going to be okay, which is also a lot to ask. So I may not be what you want, but that's what would work for me, is going to and trusting it.
So this brings up several points here. So one of the main points is the demographics. So I'm a baby boomer myself, and I don't know what generation you're in, but basically, yeah. Yeah, you do look good. So that's why I said that. So at the same point, what I'm trying to say is, yeah, I would look at reviews. I would probably look for, the history, and I would vet it a lot more strongly. But then we're looking at younger generations, which don't go into that. And the younger generations would just like spontaneously want a reward right now. We're willing to wait. They're not. I want the answer now. So the demographics are different. But the funny thing is, the baby boomers are following that demographic, because look at how many of them have gone onto Facebook. Look at how many of them have gone onto Instagram. Look at how many of them are just like getting spontaneous and want to live their lives more freely now and letting go of everything, because they no longer have the hassles of kids in the house and the responsibilities and everything else like that. But they're a demographic that has a lot of money that they could spend and use it on different things that they could enjoy. So I do see what you're saying. At the other end of it too, what we're trying to do is get that vetting process to a standard that everyone can trust. And each person is going to have a different standard that they're looking for. And it's going to be very difficult to match that. But then again, when we do get these professionals on board, we're going to look at a tiered process. And we're probably going to include the levels of qualifications that they have. And basically, you want to speak to someone which is a higher level, more qualifications, it's going to be higher reach, and it's going to cost more. And yeah, so this is where, when we look at the development of the app, and I keep saying that, we're really looking for investors to help us push this app to an extent that it can grow. And there's a lot of vision in it that we want to expand on and create something that's so useful to the population, and take them away from that medical field that just proposes one angle of looking at your life, and create an angle where you're incorporating that spirituality, the social aspects of it, the health and the mental aspects of it, creating it in a way that we never looked at. I mean, as old as I am, I never meditated. And it's been pushed up. Why don't you meditate? I don't know what meditation was. I never knew what it was. And just with COVID, I'm home for 9 weeks. I said, okay, well, maybe I try meditation. But you know how much better it would have been if someone was guiding me? If I had someone to call and say, hey, this is what you need to do. Let's do it together. And
Right.
that would have been nice. I wanted to try yoga. I've been asking my friend, she's into yoga. I said, can I come with you? Can I come with you? COVID? No. So if I had someone right in front of me, just helping me, looking at my positions and correcting me as I need to, that's going to be so much better. And this is what I hope to see as vision of what people get out of Wellie in the future.
And I guess, and this would automatically happen. I know we have to make the question short. This would automatically happen. I'm assuming already in your app, but I go in, I press in stress. I don't know. Everyone's going to search stress, right? And underneath stress, there's going to be a list of medications, and there's going to be a list of like meditation, top way to attack stress.
So the app is very, what I'd like to say, very simple right now. And when I say simple, we're trying to get records. Trying to get traction. We're trying to get consumers on, trying to get them to use the basic categories that we have.
Right.
Show the traction that we need so that we can go to investors to show them that this is working. There is a need for something like Wellie in the world, and have them help us grow it.
Yeah. And no, I applaud you. I think it's great. I'm on board.
Great.
And
I'll call you later.
And then the last thing, someone asked a question, you said, how do I find those chains?
We need to go on to other people. I know Jen is waiting, and I've got a really quick question. Why don't you guys just talk after the meeting?
Oh, no, I can leave it in the thing too.
Okay. The one
we have Ed Gleason next.
Yeah, Eddie Gleason, and then Jen. I've got a real fast question that I just wanted to throw in there. Have you thought of tying into local pharmacists that are, let's say, in drugstores and also grocery stores, because they see people that are getting statins and blood pressure pills and all sorts of other things. And if there was a way that you did a tie-in through their chain where they get a list of local folks that they could be talking to, as well as the app for information when they're picking up their prescriptions, there might be something in that.
So it's interesting that you say that, because immediately my mind went to the way we were trained to do things.
Mm-hmm.
And basically pharmacists are trained to give prescriptions and fill prescriptions and give drugs. So, I mean, that's a harsh word to use, but at the same time, I don't know how much of a holistic approach they're familiar with to want to be able to sell it, but it's definitely an angle to look into. And it has opened up my mind to possibly start chatting with some of them, figure out what they're thinking. I appreciate that.
Eddie Gleason, who I thought I had earlier, and then Jen.
Thank you. I was just wondering, I may have missed it. Are you also thinking about including therapists on your app for people to, try and find when they're having a situation, and specifically holistic therapists, because there are quite a few out there?
So we were debating whether to change the categories on the app itself, because right now we have nutrition, exercise, and yoga. And we were thinking of changing one of those categories to probably stress relief. And with stress relief, you have a lot of natural ways to approach it, which would include breathing and other things that could possibly be put in there. So yes, we were looking at that. I had some conversations last night with some other people, and again, we have to identify the limitations of what holistic can offer, and be sure that people that are in major crises are directed in the way that they should be, to seek the professional advice outside of the holistic realm if they need it. But definitely it's a field. I mean, holistic medicine, so to speak, the holistic field, there are more than 40 categories of professionals that we can tap into. And that's what makes this Wellie such a great potential.
Sure. And the only reason why I bring that up is because a lot of time, like you said, people are in crisis. It's very common for people to have to jump around and contact individual people. And if you have everyone there in one setting, it can shorten their time. And being in the behavioral health field, it could potentially be a matter of life or death for some of these people. So the quickest possible way to figure out where you need to go, it may just improve the efficiency for them to try and get in contact with someone.
Would you mind if we chatted some more on that?
Absolutely.
Oh, great. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Jen's last.
I'll keep it short, and then maybe John Foster, if he has a really short question, he can go and help wrap. When I look at the website and the messaging, right now, I think you're messaging at a functional level. So what I mean is we provide a tactical service of we connect you with a professional. But after hearing you in the presentation and testing out the app, you're solving an emotional pain point, right? Which is I'm stressed, I need someone right now. Or I feel guilty, I didn't work out, I ate the cookie last night, I need to go do a workout this morning, right? And so I think really step up and say, we're going to be the central vetting point for holistic medicine. You will get the best holistic providers. If that matters to you, we're the app for you. And so really, I don't know that that's necessarily the answer, but from a brand standpoint, having a really clear message that speaks to someone emotionally, not their brain, because people don't decide with their brain, they decide with their heart, right? So really push that message. That would just be a thought. And I put some other suggestions in chat. John, how about you? Do you want to chime in with the last question?
Yeah, very real quick. It's not so much a question, but a comment, just because I think that what you're trying to solve is absolutely necessary out there. And the sense I get, I did take a look at the app, is kind of the focus as really where you're trying to go. But I see it as trying to bridge this gap between health and wellness. So Wellie really wants to go beyond health.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And so it's a much bigger picture. So just to comment, I mean, this is what I live for. So I applaud you what you're doing.
Thank you.
Great. Donnell usually asks the final question. So Donnell, are you out there? I think you are. I can't. Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
Absolutely, I'm here.
I know you are. I just didn't see you.
I've been here since 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm excited. I'm excited about. I'm excited about what you're doing, and the ability to bring people together to solve one of the greatest issues, especially right now with everybody locked in, trying to deal with wellness in a physical sense. But that's not my question. My question is what can our 1 Million Cups community do for you?
So really and truly thinking about it and hearing everything that everyone's got to say. I mean, I see it being promising. I see Wellie moving on. I think what I need help with is definitely putting it in a situation where we can get more investments to develop it into the tool that we need, because everyone's got great ideas that we can incorporate into Wellie. But as you all know, developing apps cost a lot of money. And what we want to do between now and say June is get as many consumers on board, get as many professionals on board, and show traction, show engagement, and prove to these investors that this is something that works through the app, and have them help us grow it. So I would like to be connected to more businesses that we can have access to their employees to help test the app out more. I would like to get access to more professionals available, if you know any professionals. And then later on down the road, probably look for investors. If you can help us with that, that'll be the main thing.
Well, absolutely great presentation. Thank you so much.
Appreciate that. I just want to say, this is not all me. This is I have a great respect for my partner Paul, who has really helped tremendously, and I don't think this would have been where we are right now without his help, definitely, and all the other people that have come into Wellie as to help us out in different aspects. They've been really great to us, and I think everyone sees a great vision, and I'm really excited and looking forward to seeing it grow.
All right. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everybody. This has been one of the more impassioned sessions I think we've had, and I appreciate everyone's great input and questions. So moving on, Next week, we have the P. Wellie group, and I will let Donnell give a little brief hint as to who they are, because it might be something that everyone wants to join in on, especially here at the holidays. So Donnell, can you give us a brief introduction to them?
Absolutely. And in fact, we have Mr. Christian Price online, but the P. Wellie group is, first of all, he's actually in the United States Army currently right now, and he started his brand out, before he retires within the next 23 months. And his brand is about empowering people through messages. And I encourage you to look him up, look his group up, and learn more about them, and especially come next week, because he's taking his brand, on the road and trying to put out positive messages in his clothing line. So, Christian, did I sum you up well? I guess I did.
You're on mute, Christian. So let's have you either did it really well or terribly. Either way.
So everybody, we have, as you are well aware, after the 16th, after next week, we'll go on a 2-week hiatus for the holidays, and then we will be returning in January, on January the 6th. Now, we do have a couple of applicants that we're currently reviewing and speaking with, but we always have more space open as we go into the new year. So please, if you have someone who you think would be a great presenter, please tell them to go to 1Million Cups Fairfax and apply to present. The process isn't that hard. And as Ben will tell you, it's actually not as terrifying of experience as you might think. All right then. So coming up, we have some upcoming events, and I know we're right here at the last minute, so I'm not going to agree to review these, but in addition to these wonderful activities that are going on in and around Fairfax and Fairfax City, I also recommend that you go to the Fairfax County EDA's website and look at their activity calendar. They actually have this week and next week some phenomenal things going on, both for cybersecurity and also for changes in business laws and taxes that are coming up for next year. So please, if those are things that interest you, go ahead and take a look at them. They are a wonderful supporter of ours and our community liaison, and it'd be great for you to support them and also attend their activities. So thank you, and apply to 1Million Cups, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
Now you guys can talk the way you want to. Oh, let me take us off Facebook.
Get us off live Facebook.